Okay, here we are. All right, my name is Chris, and I wanted to make a video about the things that basically are huge common traits in the Myers-Briggs ENFP personality. And there's a lot of videos out there, so obviously you can watch that. I was watching a couple, and a few of them, I'm like, there's obviously different variants, of that. But there's definitely some things that are very universal to that personality trait. It's definitely a very outgoing, um, usually a very outgoing personality trait. Loves to have conversations. We're definitely more into talking about the deeper meaning of things. Like even in bars, I can only talk about the weather or sports for so long because to me, it's like eventually we're not talking about anything. I don't know anything more about you than you know about me. And so I usually gravitate towards those that like to have a little bit of a deeper meaning. And it's interesting that usually as we get into it, I think they're even like, wow, how did we get to this topic? And we're very good and notorious for getting to things that are a little bit more, just have more depth. I've had strangers share things with me that were extremely personal and to the point where I was like, do you really want to be telling me this stuff? So I don't know if it's a comfort thing or just, whatever it is, So I think for me, that's always been one of my most favorite things to do is to have just an interesting and good conversation with people about anything. It really doesn't matter what it is. As long as there's some kind of insight, and I feel like I'm learning something where I've heard something I haven't come across. So I'm also going to talk about the things in my life, that has determined my patterns, and it's for the longest time, especially when I was younger, I was extremely hard on myself about job choices, things like this, staying put, routine. I'm 43 now, and even to this day, doing the same thing over and over again, I don't like it. It feels like death. It feels like you're stuck in the same movie. You already know what's going to happen. So I think the trick for us, or for this personality type, is to find something that's somewhat similar and familiar, but yet different. So if you look at some of these websites, and they'll they always put like, celebrities or this or that. A lot of it's journalism, acting, things like that, writers, anything that kind of has a flexibility and freedom to it, I think is a huge thing for us. I hate being micromanaged. I do not like being told what to do. And for the longest time, I thought, am I just being childish or stubborn? But no, I don't want, been there, done that. I like jobs where it's like, this is what you got to do. And then that's it, and I do much better work when I'm not watched. I do not like people, explaining every little thing and this and that. And so I know for me, that's always been a challenge, and so there's that. But then I have the challenge of, I'll wake up one day and be like, I just don't feel like going, I'd rather go to the beach today. I want to do something else. So there's that spontaneous part of me that's definitely got me in trouble. So there's that. I'm trying to think what are the other big ones. So jobs, that's always been kind of a tough one for me. Routine, relationships, I would want all the friends in the world and as many as possible in as many different interests or environments. Being with one person for me has definitely been a challenge, and not because, I think just because it's a hard one. I live in the world of options and possibilities, so to just dedicate to one thing or one person for me has always been tough too. Especially when you live with somebody, right? That's a lot of time with one person. And even when it's a wonderful match and a good chemistry, I feel like there has to be time away, so I've got a little thing, I can't miss it if it's always there. So I think it's, for me, the perfect pattern is like to be away for a little while, come back, to be a little away for a while, come back. And that would be for almost anything. So, but that's a challenge too, because most people I don't think function that way. So anyways, just a little test video. Any other ENFPs out there? We definitely tend to be very creative, I could never just be interested in one thing, like I love music, I play music. When I was young, I got into drawing, like newspaper cartoons. I got into photography for a while. You know, I have a lot of interests. So it's always been hard for me to follow one thing down a path to really turn it into a career, because as soon as it starts feeling like work, I don't want to do it. And that has been a challenge for me. Some people mention travel. I've probably lived I've lived in so many places, and it started at a young age for me. My parents worked for an oil company, so I got moved to another country by the time I was 5 years old, you know, and it just went on and on and on. High school, went to a different high school for each year, from freshman to senior. So as great as that was experience-wise, I think the downside to that is like you learn how to let a lot of people go, unfortunately, and you have to. So part of you becomes a little unattached, detached from people. Like I can meet anybody on the surface, but when it comes to deep, meaningful relationships, that's as I've gotten older, it gets harder. Anyways, I feel like I'm just ranting at this point. So I'm just gonna throw it out there, all ENFPs. If you have anything to say, go ahead. This is also a video to let everybody know, including myself, you know, you're not alone. None of us are alone. We just have to reach out and talk to each other. So, all right, man. This is Gypsy Rooster out.